This man was just having a sweet time with his wife. The next second, his body was full of blood. This scared his wife. What the hell is going on? This day, Xiaomi got off work and went home. Tomorrow is a day off, so she's going to get along with her husband. The two of them are finally busy playing. When they were about to go to bed, the empty bedroom door was suddenly opened. The black figure was faintly visible. Her husband noticed something was wrong. After struggling to get up, a black figure stood at the door in a daze. Take a closer look. It's a little girl from the neighbor's house. She's covered in blood. Her husband got up in a hurry to care about her. What's going on? Then the girl bit her neck. Xiaomi quickly picked up the girl and threw her out. However, her husband was already exhausted. Liang fell on the bed. After the little girl was thrown out, she jumped up from the floor and rushed to the bedroom. Xiaomi bumped into the door of the bedroom. She looked back to see what was going on with her husband. She was already in a daze. She was bitten by a large artery. The blood kept spilling. There was a girl's knock at the door. Xiaomi was really a big head. She could only simply bandage her husband. Then she turned around and picked up the phone to call the emergency center. But she called several times. There was always a sound of a blind line on the phone. However, at that moment, her husband, who was unconscious, regained consciousness and stood up. Xiaomi turned around and looked. She didn't expect her husband to rush at her directly. Xiaomi quickly pushed her away, grabbed the key on the bedside table, and hid in the bathroom. None of them stood still. She fell heavily into the bathtub. She didn't have time to think. She looked up, planned to jump out of the window. At that moment, the knock of her husband outside the door stopped abruptly. She carefully put her ear on the door. The next second, the door was broken. Xiaomi had to quickly open the window and jump out. Then she planned to drive away. When she was about to leave, she saw her neighbor holding a gun. She called out to the neighbor to ask what happened, but the neighbor let her raise her hand. If she didn't obey, she shot him directly. As a result, the neighbor was suddenly hit by an ambulance. Xiaomi looked around. It was originally a peaceful town. It turned out to be such a disaster. She didn't have time to think. The sound of tearing was heard from behind. It was her husband who chased her out. Xiaomi got into the car. She stepped on the gas at a corner. She came to the main road. She found that there were many corpses on the road. The radio broadcast the situation in various places. It was not easy to drive out of the dangerous area. She wanted to stop and take a break, but she was robbed by a man. She had to pull her down from the car. Xiaomi was in a hurry. She just pushed the man away. As soon as she stepped on the gas, the car hit the fence directly. The man fell off the bridge with the car. She fainted on the spot. I don't know how long it took. Xiaomi finally regained consciousness. When she crawled out of the car, a gun was pointed at her brain. She looked up. It was a policeman named Lao He. He let Xiaomi say a word. He confirmed the other party was not a corpse. Then Lao He took Xiaomi with him. After a while, they met another group of survivors. Xiaohong and Andrea, who were pregnant, were husband and wife. There was also a golden-haired man. Lao He planned to continue walking forward. The golden-haired man told the two that it was very dangerous ahead. They had better not go there. Lao He said, "What about the safer pasta bow?" The golden-haired man said, "It's safe for you to fly there, but now there are corpses all over the road. There were 8 of them. Now there are only 3 left. Now they are going to the department store to escape. There's a lot of stuff there." After Lao He and Xiaomi looked at each other, they followed up. A few people came to the door of the mall. As they were about to open the door, a broken corpse was shaking and rushing at them. Andrea shot it down with a gun. Then a gun broke the lock. The 5 people quickly hid in the mall and locked the door. It was extremely quiet in there, but a few people were suspicious. They were afraid that there would be a corpse hiding in a corner. A few people walked in the mall with their hands and feet. The golden-haired man suggested that they had to make sure that every corner here was safe. So Andrea and he split up to see if the doors in all the places were locked. As Lao He, the police, protected Xiaohong and Xiaomi in place, Andrea came to the side door of the mall. Slowly moving forward, a corpse suddenly rushed over and hit the glass. Fortunately, the glass door was strong. On the other hand, Andrea was not so lucky. He came to a mall that sells sports goods. He saw the slings and arrows. He felt the atmosphere here was a little strange. He heard the sound of the fitting room. He picked up the hammer next to it and planned to find out what was going on. He picked up the courage to open the door. The scene inside was really bloody. Andrea was completely shocked. When the corpse saw him, he pressed Andrea on the floor at the fastest speed. He planned to continue to eat. In the midst of panic, Andrea picked up the wooden stick that fell next to it and stuck it in the corpse's head. Andrea's head was poked out. Xiaomi's side was not so peaceful. They heard the sound of fighting and felt a chill on their backs. When they checked the surrounding environment, they didn't know from where the corpse came and caught Xiaohong. Andrea was afraid of hurting Xiaohong, so he had to use a gun to drag the corpse away. But the corpse's fighting power was very strong, so he brought it into the pool of the mall. Just when everyone was fighting, Xiaomi picked up the gun next to her and shot her in the eye to kill the corpse. A few people understood they couldn't stay on the first floor, so they decided to go to the second floor. Unexpectedly, as soon as the elevator opened, 3 security guards pointed their guns at them. The leader was CJ and told them to get out of here. Jin said that the downstairs was surrounded by the corpse. Now is not the time to quarrel. CJ thought it must be because of them that the corpse was brought in. After a discussion, CJ asked them to hand over their weapons, which allowed a few people to walk out of the elevator. At this time, the TV in the mall broadcasted the tragedy of this place.
Andrea secretly brought Xiaohong to the bathroom. It was just now that Xiaohong's hand was bitten by the corpse, but Andrea was worried that a few people would know and hurt her wife, so she chose to hide it. Xiaomei found a wound on the old man's arm. In order to ensure his safety, she asked CJ to get a medical kit and bandage the other party. After a short break, the men came to the first floor and killed all the corpses here. Then, a few people came to the top floor, wrote a rescue signal on the ground with a paintbrush, and threw the corpse out. They saw the corpses coming to the shopping center from all directions. Maybe it was a memory of life. They gathered in places where there were many people. The gunshots from afar attracted a few people. It turned out to be a survivor named Andy. He was alone on the roof, talking to them with a sign. Andy's hand pointed up, looking in the direction, and there was only a plane. A few people saw the sound of hope and called out to the plane while waving their hands, trying to get the plane to find them. But it was in vain. The plane flew directly over a few people's heads. The hope that had just been ignited was extinguished. But what made people feel at ease was that the glass here was hard enough, and it was in the shopping center. The living materials inside could keep them alive for a few days. I didn't expect CJ to still not believe the 5 of them. At night, he actually locked them up. But at the time when they needed the most unity, there was an inner conflict. Jin just expressed his opinion. Andy couldn't stand it, so he told him not to force it. He also asked Black if he wanted to listen to Jin's advice, but Black said he just wanted to go to Paz de Bao to see his brothers. CJ outside the door was watching the news. It really blew his lungs away. The TV station invited a priest to study why the dead appeared. The priest thought the dead were demons from hell returning to the world. It was as if he hadn't said anything. In the daytime, the police saw a big truck coming this way from the surveillance camera. A few people came to the top of the building. That's when they found out that there were still a few living people in the truck. Xiaomei wanted to save them, but was rejected by CJ because they couldn't make sure if the people in the truck were safe and healthy. It was their best choice not to let them in. After all, the existing supplies were also limited. However, Xiaomei insisted on saving them. CJ was so angry that he held a gun and yelled at Xiaomei. Now he can't even protect himself, and he wants to save people. It's ridiculous. This move caused a lot of dissatisfaction. Jin and Black caught CJ and locked him in the guard room. Then the police worked together to beat the dead outside and brought the people in the truck to the shopping center. CJ's guess was right. Of the few people who came in, 2 were bitten by the dead. It's just that the virus hasn't spread yet. They said they came to the church in the city center. The TV station said it was a safe place, but now it's their turn. Black wanted to borrow their car to find his family, but he couldn't. Xiaomei had just checked the fat woman's wound. He mutated in the second. He rushed straight at Xiaomei. It's fast inside the pool. Xiaomei picked up a steel pipe and poked it into the fat woman's eyes. Now it's completely pierced. And because of this, another infected man was also going to kill him. The man was reluctant to say goodbye to his daughter. Black was merciful. When the man was about to mutate, he shot him and sent him away. The next few days, a few survivors are living a comfortable life here. Black and Andy on the other side of the building are playing chess. In addition to food, you can enjoy the clothes and shoes in the mall. Even if the dead have gathered downstairs, a few people are not afraid at all. They even play the game of killing the dead. Andy next door is a great shooter. He can accurately hit the dead as time goes by. Andrea's wife is about to give birth. He quietly welcomed her in the small room. Notice that the woman's look has changed. The fetus in the belly is about to break the belly. The aunt passing by saw this. Andrea was afraid that the matter would be exposed. He took out his gun. The 2 people surrounded each other and killed each other. After hearing the gunshot, Xiaomei and a few people rushed over. The aunt had only 1 breath left. She told the process to a few people and then died. Then Xiaomei saw the woman's child. It was a miscarriage. She couldn't live. Then the shopping center rang the gun again. After a few people enjoyed a short moment of peace, the real problem came. Because just now, the mall suddenly shut down. CJ and others went to the basement to check the generator. They accidentally found a dog. They thought there was no corpse, so they continued to move forward. However, their judgment was wrong. There was a corpse in front. It turned out that the corpse was not interested in the puppy. After a few people killed the corpse in the basement, they came to the first floor of the mall and discussed what to do next. After the discussion, a few people decided to go to a small island with water on all sides and use the existing materials to change the big truck into a hard armored truck. The old man was going to take Andy, but the other person told him that he couldn't hold on because he had no food. After that, a few people decided to let the dog go to dry food. Although the corpse was not interested in the dog, they watched the dog go into the cave and followed it. In the end, Andy was infected by the corpse of the mass, but at such a critical moment, the short-haired girl in the crowd left everyone and went to save the dog. It was too risky. In despair, they all bit their teeth. It's important to save people. They went straight to the basement of the mall, followed the sewer pipe all the way, opened a well, and went downstairs. But unfortunately, when one of them closed the well, he made a lot of noise and suddenly attracted the corpse. Everyone had no choice but to fight and retreat. Finally, they hid in a room. When they went in, they saw that it was a weapons store. They could replenish ammunition. They just wanted to breathe. Suddenly, there was a loud knock in the house. Everyone followed the sound to find it. It turned out that Andy had become a corpse. The old man decided to solve it. Then he found the short-haired girl and the dog in the cabinet. But at this time, a new problem emerged. How should they go back? They only saw CJ take out a gas can and threw it at the corpse. At the same time, he picked up a sniper rifle and aimed at it. As the explosion sounded, the corpse was blown up. Everyone took the opportunity to hurry into the sewer. Who knew that a teammate was pushed down by the corpse from the well to cover everyone? Then the corpse of the group walked towards everyone. CJ pulled his injured teammate and retreated while fighting. But there were more and more corpses. They couldn't kill them all. In the end, the teammates couldn't hold on. They handed the pistol to CJ and begged him to give it to them.
A few people ran back to the shopping center and got on the armored car, but at the end of the day, there were a lot of corpses around them. Some corpses had to climb on the armored car. It was really hard. Fortunately, CJ was ready. He climbed on the top of the car and threw the gas can at the corpse. It was a loud noise again. There was a bloody passage in front of him. The armored car rushed out and ran all the way to the destination. While running, the old man found a corpse hanging behind the car. The old man wanted to use the gas can to get rid of it, but who would have thought that the car suddenly turned and threw the gas can at the short-haired girl? He died on the spot. At this moment, the armored car was out of control. CJ saw that the armored car didn't catch up and turned back immediately. A man just climbed out of the armored car and was chased down by the corpse. When CJ and the others arrived, only the old man was left alive. A few people were about to retreat and found that their partner had also become a corpse. Xiaomei didn't blink. She raised her hand and shot to kill him. As soon as he was about to leave, the corpse chased him again. The others hurried to get in the car. Xiaomei followed suit. The car continued to drive towards the pier. The corpse was chasing behind. Fortunately, there was no danger in the end. They safely arrived at the pier. A group of people got off the car in a hurry and ran towards the ship. At this time, the corpse was close to the shore. CJ let everyone get on the ship first and stayed behind to cover it. In a while, the corpse surrounded the car. The corpses swam headlong into the car. CJ fought hard inside. The bullets were out. Finally, he picked up the burner. With a loud explosion, CJ used his life to buy time for others to escape. After a while, a few people quickly boarded the yacht. But when Jinfa ran away, he was bitten by the corpse. He knew he was hopeless. He chose to stay and watch everyone leave. Jinfa used a gun to end his life. The rest of the people drove the yacht towards the island and prepared to start a new life. This is a classic corpse film. The film also has a special menu. If you like it, you must watch it.